little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with a continuation, part 3 of the Penguin Amigurumi tutorial. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. I hope that you're having a good one. And thank you to Lion Brand for sponsoring this series. Pound of Love, the yarn that we're using, there's a link to it in the description box down below. So previously, we have done the head and we've done the body. And today we're going to go into these sort of bits and bobs and pieces and so forth, like his little eye patch and one of his wings and one of his little footsies. They're really, really easy, but of course you will need to make 2 of each of these. I already made 1 of each. And we're also going to need to make his little tummy patch. All right. And then at some point, I promise, yes, at some point, we will do the assembly. But I like to take my time with you guys, go step by step by step so that I am nice and thorough. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we're going to start off with one of his little eye patches. Actually, another thing that I forgot to mention is we're also going to be making the beak as well. That also, of course, you only need 1 of those. So right now we're going to start off with the eye patch. It's very simple. It's only 3 rounds and going to be working with our light color here. Now, instead of starting with 6 single crochets, we're actually going to start with 8 for the eyes. Gives it a better shape, I think. So starting right along with a slip knot. There we are. And a chaining of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch to that first chain to create a ring. And then within the ring, 8 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There you go. And that is actually the end of round 1. Okay, round 2 for the eye patch. All you have to do is 2 single crochets in each stitch. And because we are so close to the edge, I'm not going to put in my stitch marker yet, but let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's this stitch right here, right in there. Going to do 2 single crochets per stitch. And I'm just going to work my way around. So 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 in that same stitch, and then 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8, and then 9 and 10 in the same stitch, and then 11 and 12 in the same stitch, and 13 and 14 together, and 15 and 16 together. So as long as you're keeping track of what number you're on, it's pretty easy. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, yes, I am going to add my stitch marker as well as sew in the tail to make things a wee bit easier. Alrighty. All right, so we're up to round 3 already. I put my stitch marker in to make it a wee bit easier. So round 3, the last round for the eye patch, going to do 2 single crochet stitches in the first and then 1 in the next. So 1 and 2 in the first, and then 1 in the next. So that's 3. So 4 and 5 together, and then 6 by itself, 7 and 8 together, 9 by itself, 10, 11 together, 12 by itself, 13, 14 together, 15 by itself, 16, 17 together, 18 by itself, 19, 20 together, 21 by itself, 22, 23 together, and 24 by itself. And that is the eye patch. Very quick, very easy, but it adds a lot of character to his little face. So I think it's well worth doing. So then I can just remove my marker there. And then when, again, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. When you cut your yarn, be sure to leave enough so that you can attach this piece to the head. And it's a good rule of thumb in general, because you can always snip stuff away, but you can't add to it. And it also saves on your waste. If you don't have to, sew in the end and then make more yarn, and it's just so much easier doing it this way. So at any rate, going to give myself a nice long tail and snip, snip, and pull my loop through. And there you go. So we have our 2 little eye patches ready to rock, and then we shall continue on. Okay, so keeping in line with his little face, we're going to continue on with the beak. So now I'm going to be using the pumpkin spice, the lovely sort of rusty orange color. And for round 1, going to start off with a slip knot, yes, as per usual, and a chaining of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch to the first chain to create a ring. There we are. And because I don't want the beak to have a very big circumference, we're going to keep it small. We're going to start off with only 6 single crochets into this center ring here. So scooting right in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that is round 1 for the beak. Okay, round 2 for the beak. Going to do the same sort of thing where just going to be doing 2 stitches per stitch all the way around, and then I will deal with my tail and start with a stitch marker. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So into that 6th stitch from the beginning, pop right in there, and 2 singles per stitch all the way around until we hit 12 stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. There we are. So, like I said, I'm going to deal with my tail, and we shall continue on from there. Okay, so I got my tail sewed in, and we are ready to rock with rounds 3 and round 4. Quite simply, it's just 1 stitch per stitch all the way around because we want the beak to have a more cupped shape. So we're just going to be maintaining the stitch count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then for round 4, I'm just going to move my marker. And then for round 4, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and try that again. And 12. Yay, we did it. Okay, so again, going to leave myself a nice long tail because I'm going to be using this to sew the beak onto the head. Snip, snip. Pull out my row counter. Pull the loop out. And there you go. He's going to have a cute little beak. Now, of course, with all of these features and things, by all means, you can make adjustments. You know, if you want things to be, longer, wider, shorter, narrower, really, whatever you like. This, of course, is how I made mine, but I do encourage you to experiment, try new things, get funky with your bad self, and do some creative problem solving. So, that being said, we now have this little beak out of the way. Alrighty. Alright, so continuing on with the pumpkin spice, we're going to make one of his little feet. Yeah, looks like a little paddle. Alright, so first things first, as per usual, going to start off with our slip knot and a chaining of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch to that first chain to create a ring, and then within that ring we're going to make 6 single crochet stitches. So get right in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I know that we've been, doing the same sort of thing over and over again, but practice makes perfect. And as I've said before, I like to be thorough. So let's continue on. Okay, round 2 for the little footsie. Going to do the same sort of routine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the beginning, going in with 2 single crochets into each stitch. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4 into that same stitch, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, if I am not entirely mistaken. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Perfect. Okay, going to deal with the tail, and I shall be right back. Okay, round 3 for the foot. Going to continue our rate of increase by doing 2 stitches in the first, 1 in the next. So we're going to go from 6 to 12 up to 18 stitches all the way around. Alrighty, so 2 in the first, 1 and 2, 3 in the next, 4 and 5 together, 6 in the next, 7 and 8 together, 9 in the next, 10 and 11 together, 12 in the next, 13 and 14 together, 15 in the next, 16, 17 together, 18 in the next. And there you go. That is the end of round 3. Now, what's going to make things rather simple is we're going to continue the next 3 rounds, rounds 4, 5, and 6, just going around and around without adding any stitches, no increasing, no decreasing, just 1 stitch per stitch for the next 3 rounds, and I will be right back for a little bit of decreasing. Be right back. Okay, so at round 7, we're going to be doing a little bit of decreasing, and we're going to be going from 18 stitches down to 12 stitches. So, going to go through the front loops only of our stitches for the decrease. For the first 2, front loop. First one's always the trickiest. I don't know why that is. So through the front loop, and then through the front loop. So that's 1 and 2 together. And then 3, that third one, on his own. Just a regular single crochet stitch. And we're going to do this all the way around for our decrease. 1 and 2 together. 3 on its own. There we are. 1 and 2 together. 3 on its own. 1 and 2 together. 3 on its own. 1 and 2 together, 3 on its own, 1 and 2 together, and then that last stitch, 3 on its own. And there you are. And then, of course, move my stitch marker up. Okay, so then just need to do 2 more rounds, rounds 8 and round 9. I'm going to do those off camera to spare you. But yeah, rounds 8 and 9, the next 2 rounds, just do 1 stitch in every stitch all the way around for 2 rounds, and then giving yourself plenty of, scrap, of your tail left over. Make a nice long tail, snip your yarn, pull out your loop, and you will have a little footsie. Yeah. So then we shall continue on with another appendage. All right, so I'm going to do 2 more rounds off camera, 1 stitch per stitch, and we shall get started on the next piece. All right, so now we're going to start working on one of his little wings. All right, going to swap over to my Oxford gray here, and let's get to business with round 1. So starting off with a slip knot, a chaining of 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch to that first chain to create a ring. Nothing new there, right? And for the beginning of the wing, we are going to do 6 single crochets into the center of the ring. If I can find it. There we go. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you go. And that is round 1. All right, so round 2, we're going to double our stitches once again, going from 6 stitches to 12 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so into that 6th stitch right there, do 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Next stitch is 3 and 4. Next is 5 and 6. Next 7 and 8. Next 9 and 10. Next is 11 and 12. There you go. All right, now I'm going to deal with my tail, sew it in, and pop in my stitch marker. Be right back. All right, round 3, we're going to increase again every other stitch. 2 in the first, 1 in the next. So we're going to go from 6 to 12, now up to 18 stitches. This practice should be familiar with you by now, I think. But I'm going to go through it with you anyway. So I've got 1 and 2 in that first stitch. This is distracting me. All right, so I got 2 in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do that again. 1 and 2 in the first stitch. And then 3 by his lonesome. 1 and 2 in the same stitch, 3 alone, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, 3 alone, 1 and 2 in the same stitch. There we go. 3 alone, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and 3 alone. There we go. So now we should have a total of 18 stitches. And yes, I'm going to scooch my scrap of yarn up. And we should have 18. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Beautiful. All right. So onwards and upwards, we shall proceed. All right. Round 4, we're going to increase again. This is actually going to be the last of the increase rounds. So it is 2 stitches in the first stitch. So that's 1 and 2 in the first stitch, and then 3 and 4 are solo. So 3 and 4. Then 1 and 2 in the same stitch. 3 and 4 are solo. 1 and 2 in the same stitch. 3 and 4 are solo. 1 and 2 in the same stitch. 3 and 4 are solo. 1 and 2 in the same stitch. 3 and 4 are solo. Okay, one more repetition to go. All right. 1 and 2 in the same stitch. 3 and 4 are solo, and there you go. That is the end of the round. And so now we have a total of 24 stitches all the way around, and that is going to be the maximum circumference of stitches for the wing. And now we are on easy street, because for the next 5 rounds, we're not going to do any increasing, no decreasing. We're just going to do 1 stitch per stitch all the way around. Just, keep track and move your stitch marker up. So it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. 5 rounds to go, with no increasing, no decreasing, just 1 stitch per stitch. I'm going to do the next 5 rounds off camera, and I will see you when I'm finished. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so off camera, I did my 5 rounds, no increasing, no decreasing, just 1 stitch per stitch. And now we get to do the decreasing. So I'm going to hop right in. And again, through the front loops only. Going to pull up a loop from the first one through that front loop only, pull up a loop, next stitch, pull up a loop. So that's 1 and 2. And then the next 2 stitches solo. So that's 3 and 4, and we're going to do the same thing all the way around. So pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. Next 2 are solo. Pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. Next two are solo. Okay. Pull up a loop. Pull up a loop. Pull through all three. Next two are solo. Okay. Pull up a loop. Pull up a loop. Pull through all three. Next two are solo. Okie dokie. And then we got one more repetition to go. Pull up a loop through that front loop. And again through the next. Pull through all three. And the next two stitches, one single crochet in each. Okay. And there we go. All right, move our stitch marker up like so. There we go. All right, and then for the next two rounds, round 11 and 12, just do one stitch in each stitch all the way around. Now, the reason why we are doing 2 rounds is because we want to have a longer, more tapered shape to our wing here, as you can see. It has a sort of a gradient to it. It's not like, it doesn't close up like a ball. No, it's more like a teardrop, So that being said, 2 more rounds, rounds 11 and 12. Going to do those off camera. No increasing, no decreasing, and then we shall continue. I'll be right back. All right, round 13. One more decrease. All right, so going to decrease from 18 stitches down to 12 stitches. So going to decrease the first 2 stitches together. So through the front loop. Almost had it. I promise. Almost. All right, so through the front loop. There we go. And then through the front loop of the next. Through all 3. There we are. And then single into the next stitch. And that's it as far as the repeat. We're just going to keep working our way around in the same fashion. Through the front loop. Through the front loop. Through all 3. Single in the next. Through the front loop. Through the front loop. Through all 3. Single in the next. Through the front loop. Through the front loop. Through all 3. Single in the next. Through the front loop. Through the front loop. Through all 3. And single in the next. And once more. There we go. Through the front loop. Through the front loop. Through all 3. Single in the next. There we go. And then to continue the tapering, we're going to do 2 more rounds. Rounds 14 and 15. Okay, 2 more rounds with no increasing, no decreasing, just 1 stitch per stitch for 2 more rounds, and then we can finish up the little wing. Alrighty, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I did the next 2 rounds of the wing, no increasing, no decreasing, just stitch for stitch, and the wing is done. So, can rip out my stitch marker, leave ourselves a nice long tail for sewing in, snip, snip, and there we go. And we are almost done, almost, almost done with the various appendages and accoutrements, and we shall go on to the next piece. All right. All right, so now we have a single piece to work on. We're going to work on his little tummy patch. So round 1, going to start off in the usual fashion, slip knot and a chaining of 4. And for the tummy patch, yes, I'm using the elephant gray, the lighter of our colors. And so chain 4, slip stitch to that first chain to create a ring, and then in the ring we're going to do 8 single crochet stitches. That's going to be round 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's round 1. All right, so round 2, we're just going to double each stitch, going from 8 to 16 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so in that 8th stitch, pop in there with 2 stitches. We're going to work our way around. So 1 and 2 in that same stitch, 3 and 4 in the next, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. All right, there we go. So I'm going to deal with my tail, pop in a stitch marker, and we will proceed on with round 3. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to continue to increase in the usual fashion. So in the first stitch, it's going to be 2 stitches, 1 stitch in the next. So we're going to go from 8 to 16 to 24 stitches. 8 times 3 is 24. So 2 in the first, and 1 in the next. 2 together, and 1 solo, 2 together, 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 and the last one, solo. And there we are. That's the end of round 3. Just move the stitch marker up. And we are ready to party for the next round. All right, let's go. Okay, round 4 is going to be the last of the increase rounds. 2 in the first and then 2 solos. So 2 in the first. It's 1 and 2. 3 and 4 are solo. 1 and 2 together. 3 and 4 are solo. 1 and 2 together. 3 and 4 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 solo. And one more repetition. 1 and 2 together. 3 and 4 solo. Ta-da! All right, and then to make this a little bit neater, if you will, because right now you can kind of see the points where the increases are. So what I like to do for my tummy patch, you can do this or not do this, but me personally, I think it makes it look just a little bit nicer, is to sort of even out these stitches where we did the increases. I'm going to do one more round, round 5, where I'm just going to do one round of just one stitch in each stitch all the way around, and it sort of makes the edge just look a little bit better. And so I'm going to do the rest of this round off camera, and then I'm going to cut my yarn, making sure that I leave a nice long tail for sewing in, sewing this piece to my penguin body, and then we will finish up with one more accoutrement that you need for your little penguin friend. All right, I'll see you in a bit. Hello. All right, so the last piece, last but of course not least, it is going to be the dark part of the eye there. It is a very small little circle. Now, I like to use a separate piece. However, what you could do is you could take this eye patch and do a couple of stitches with the black yarn, to create the eye part there. However, I like to do it as a separate piece. Totally up to you, but I'm going to show you what I did. Now, for the sake of being able to see it a little bit easier what it is that I'm doing, I'm going to use the Oxford Gray. However, for the actual piece, yes, I'm going to use the charcoal, the very, very dark color, but I want you to see what it is that I'm doing. So this is very quick, very easy, but yes, you are going to need 2 of them. So start off with a slip knot and a chaining of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch to that first chain to create a ring. And then do 5 or 6, I think I'm going to do 5 single crochets within my ring. whatever works best for you. All right, this, I'm having an issue here. Pardon me. My lighting could be a little bit better, and it's sometimes hard to see, so excuse me. 2, 3, 4. See, I'm a human spider. I am not infallible. All right, so going into my ring. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think 5 should do it. Let me do 6. You don't want to have too many stitches because you do want this part to be rather small, actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then to sort of finish this up, slip stitch into that 6th of our single crochets. Just slip stitch right into there. There we go. And so we have a nice tight little circle. And then of course, cut your yarn, pull out your loop. Now you want to leave both of these ends for when we do our attaching later. We will get to that, not to worry. So you would cut your end like so, pull out your loop. There we are. And then, yes, we will deal with these ends when we do our assembly. Alrighty, so make 2 of these and you're good to go. Alrighty, my dears, so that is going to conclude part 3 of the Amigurumi Penguin tutorial series. I hope that you're liking it. I know I am. And I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope that you're enjoying the series. And I want to give a big thank you to Lion Brand for sponsoring the series as well. Links, timestamps, all that good stuff is in the description box down below. And stay tuned for part 4, because I'm going to show you how we can do all of the assembly with all of these little bits and bobs that you've been creating. And you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a great day.